Marglot HaSulam, the feet of the ladder. That is my additional comment on Zohar. We are starting for the first time with our first Zohar classes in English. It is already many years that our English readers, English-speaking readers, ask me to give the Zohar lessons in English in such a way that it will help them. To help is the prime goal of the Zohar. The Zohar is given to mankind in order to enable a person to cope with his evil inclination and enable him to overwin it. Then the person will see the light, the prime light, light that gives him life and fulfillment on the background of all his work, achievements. I did not respond to all those requests. First of all, because English is not my mother language, and I don't live in an English-speaking country, but in the Netherlands, in Amsterdam. Everybody speaks here a bit of English, but still it is not an English-speaking country. But the true reason was that the time did not come yet, was not ready to do this. And now we are starting already this first Zohar lesson. In this study, I will combine all study of the Kabbalah with the Zohar as the central point, the crucial part of all of the study. And above this, I will give all other aspects of Kabbalah, from Etz Chaim, the tree of life, from Ari. Mainly everything will be based on Ari, the books of Ari, the books of Shmoneh Sharim, the 8 gates, and others. First of all, before we will start with the Zohar, I need to give you some introduction in order to release some students of Kabbalah from many attitudes that they have received from other schools spread all over the world. There are 3 main schools, Kabbalah schools, in the world. One in America, in the United States of America. and 2 in Israel. And all 3 of them naturally bring a person to Kabbalah, but are just for beginners, for someone who starts with Kabbalah, who for the first time has a need for spirituality. Their attitude is to know. They want to know. They want knowledge, as they think that by knowing things, by knowledge, they come to revelation of the spirituality, that it will give life, happiness, and fulfillment. I must disappoint you if you would like to keep on going with this kind of attitudes, because the true spirituality we only can find in a pure study, in a genuine study of the Kabbalah, of the Zohar, that you cannot find in the world. And the genuine study of the books of the Holy Ari, Rabbi Lurian Ashkenazi, or Arizal. In these books, we can find the true way to the fulfillment. The attitude is very, very important. My students in the Netherlands and Belgium already know how to adapt themselves during the lessons, and when they are alone, when they study the Kabbalah at home, especially during a lesson, when you listen to the voice of your teacher, how to behave yourself. Behavior is the matter of the inner, the way how a person makes it in himself. The inner attitude, the intentions. In the holy language, is it kavanah? Plural is kavanot. Make yourself open, receptive. Don't try to get it through your earthly mind, through your intellect. I had many students at the Zohar lessons. By this moment, I have given exactly 100 lessons to my Dutch and Belgian students. It was long ago when I wrote this book. Every lesson takes about 3 hours, so 300 hours of Zohar. About 3 years ago, also this is a date, the time of then when I wrote this book. About 3 years ago, we decided not to let new students come to our main group in order to keep the level higher and deeper, to learn the source of the Kabbalah. They don't ask just questions because it gives them an intellectual kick. They know to ask a question only when it comes out of a pain. Actually, I only answer these questions because only these kind of questions, when they are filled by an answer, a question is a shortage, chisaron in Hebrew, and an answer by the teacher is a filling of the shortage. This kind of question do I answer? But even then, I teach them to be patient, because all of these questions form their kelim, their receptacles, the shortage, where eventually the light will come, sooner or later. This is the kind of attitude that I want. Therefore, I started this first lesson about the attitude. And I will repeat it many, many times. And I will try to explain it more and more and deeper and deeper. There are many other aspects which are related with the study of the Zohar. It is a holy study, and not just to know, I want to know, as I have told you. That is why you don't see in the world that they study correctly the Zohar. In some places they study a bit and say that it is enough, or even that it helps to scan the Zohar and read the translation in English or another language. I must disappoint you. Both of them don't work. The scanning of the Zohar with your eyes will not help you. Maybe they want you to believe in it, but I tell you, the name of the Kabbalah is Chochmat HaEmet, wisdom of the truth. And that is why I must tell you the things as they are. Scanning just with your eyes will not help you. You can study the whole Zohar 10 times, 100 times, and it will not help you. To keep the pocket edition of the Zohar in your pocket, near your heart, neither will help a person. It might be good for your psychological condition, but the Zohar has nothing to do with psychology. The Zohar brings a person spiritual elevation, and not that the Zohar must be brought down in the earthly egoistic heads of a person who wants only to use or misuse the Zohar. It is impossible to misuse the Zohar. In the study with us, there will be no possibilities to escape working on yourself individually, working on your ego. Not just talking Kabbalah, talking about Kabbalah, but living the Kabbalah. That is what I see in the world. Talking, only talking about the Kabbalah. They bring some ideas of the Kabbalah, but only intellectual, to suit them with their egoistic heads, wishes, desires of the earthly people who just want more. Give me more. Give me also spirituality. Zohar says, hav, hav, barking like a dog. Hav means to give, actually, to give in the holy language. But they say, hav, hav, like a dog does. Give me this world. 2 times, hav, hav. Give me this world and also the world to come. You will not find it with us. You will be taken above and in the depth of your inner in order to come into a kind of conformity with the spirit of Zohar. Only this will help you. Only this will bring the redemption to a person. We will study Zohar in order to accelerate our personal redemption, and with this also the redemption of others, but in a personal way, and not in a group forming. For no group can bring redemption to a person. Even the study of Kabbalah will bring no redemption to some who studies in a group. Because in a group a person can get consoled by someone else who is also blind, and then one blind helps another blind. That is why we have to keep our eyes upwards to the eye that always sees, the eye that knows everything that is in every one of us, the eye that doesn't close. We will see that is not just that it is just not just words, it is the eye of Arich Anpin, literally a long face. Do we need spirituality? For what do we need study spirituality? What is spirituality? You see how many questions rise up before we come to the Zohar. I know that most of my new students who will study Zohar with us in English, they already started the Zohar, maybe already for several years, at one of the known schools. All of these schools are based on the group spirit. It is not that I criticize them. Everything is good. Otherwise it would not exist. But to me is given the method to come to spirituality, to salvation, along the shortest way. And the shortest way is the pure individual work on yourself by studying only Zohar and Etz Chaim, the tree of life. And that is given to me. I feel that I'm looking for words. I'm sure that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Creator, will give me the right words, the right attitudes to study myself and to teach the way to bring us and the world to the goal of the creation. And just for one single goal of the creation, to study in order to know his Creator. What is spirituality? Everyone speaks about it nowadays. The world is full of all kinds of knowledges, religions, spiritual movements. By the way, Kabbalah is not a spiritual movement. I could not read it. I could not find it in the deepest sources of the Kabbalah, the most secret books, where I could hear from the great holy people the need to study in a group. Only a personal way. And even when people come together, and they sit around the table. Everyone is busy with himself, and from inner point of view, he wants to connect himself to others, to everyone who studies Kabbalah with him, but not in a perverse way, to dance with each other. There is nothing wrong in dancing together, in drinking alcohol together, and to go to the sea together. But it makes someone believe that through another person he can achieve spirituality, and that is impossible. It is only you and Ein Sof in all his levushim, clothings, dressings, coverings. But you must do it, only you yourself. The questions that you have, you put to your own Creator. Everyone has the same Creator, but everyone has his own soul, and everyone has its own level of spirituality. What is spirituality? This answer we will try to find later on in this lesson. I call this lesson the preliminary lesson, but maybe we will call it the first lesson, even if we will not touch in this lesson the text of the Zohar self. It is the very first lesson of the Holy Zohar. It is not easy just to study even 1.5 hours of Zohar in the way we will study. You will feel that it will take all the week to work it out at home. What is actually spirituality? Everyone pretends that he has to do with something spiritual. I mean every movement, religion, and they have different, sometimes completely different views. Someone worships animals, and another one the earth, and others take it higher and higher and believe in the omnipotence of the sun or stars. How can we define spirituality before we open the first page of the Zohar? In order to cleanse ourselves from all kinds of imaginations, knowledges, beliefs that can disturb our wish to build up a tete-a-tete relation with Ein Sof. It is like this. You can buy a radio receiver of low power, cheap, and you can only receive the radio waves of the city where you live. You may buy a stronger one that can receive a greater region. If you live in America, you can receive then half of the country. There are also receivers that you can catch also, by which you can catch also the very special, very high frequencies of radio waves that enables a person to come in touch with a ship that sends some information. So everything is a question from where the information is received. From where? The frequencies of the waves, the higher frequencies, are the shorter waves, and are the higher kind of information. In such a way works all the spiritual knowledge that is received here on earth. To a nation, to a group of people or individuals is given the knowledge with the frequencies which are low, near to the earth. To others is given the higher. All kinds of wisdom are given on earth from a different level of the frequencies, like this example of radio waves. All of them, except the Kabbalah, lies in the placenta of the universe. Like an embryo lies in the belly of his mother, secured by this place, and feels comfortable over there, and sends material. In the same way is everything that is given to mankind. It is in the placenta of the universe. Of course, something sensual resembles spirituality, but everything is in this placenta, and there exists one instruction, only one instruction that is given to mankind, to the entire mankind, to receive the spirituality from the source, and that is out of this placenta of the universe, outside this placenta of the universe. It is from the area where there is nothing material, where no shuttle can ever enter, where no material molecule or atom will be able to enter. And also that place is structured higher and higher, up to the Ein Sof, up to where it is completely indefinable. That is the area of the spiritual worlds. And over there are 5 main spiritual worlds. Of course, there are not only 5 as they are endless. We say 5 because between the first, the highest, and the highest one, and the 4 lower worlds are endless worlds. But through Ein Sof, we are connected with each other. From that place comes the only spirituality. In this sense, spirituality means Or Chaya, the Or Chayim, the light of life. Only this light of the highest frequency of waves brings a person and human society, the whole universe, the redemption and fulfillment. Every human being has in himself the whole structure of all these spiritual worlds. And by developing these, he can attune himself to these worlds that form the Etz Chayim, the tree of life. In a human being, there are 4 main places which we have to bring together in order to receive this light, or Chaya, the living light, that breaks all the resistance in all the worlds and comes to a person who calls for it and who is prepared, who works on himself individually to receive it. How to receive this light, how to bring oneself in conformity with this is taught to us by the Zohar and the Holy Ari. Just in several words, it teaches us how to connect these 4 places in a person. His inner eyes, which correspond with his outer eyes, of course, and as everything is built up in the same structure. The mouth of a person, what he says, the heart of a person, what and how he feels, and Yesod, the foundation of a person, that place which outer corresponds with the place of his sexual organ. Only by connecting these four places, which correspond with the 4 letters of the tetragrammaton Yud, He, Vav, He, or Chochma, Bina, Tiferet, or Chochma, Bina, Tiferet, and Malchut. Every time when a person connects these four places, there are many small mistakes in this English version. These four places in himself to one line. He gets in touch with those areas outside of the placenta of the universe, from where the light of life comes. The clue is to learn how to connect, how to make the right connections. And nothing can bring that to a person except the thoroughly study of the Holy Zohar and the Etz Chaim Avari. That is why it is so important to emphasize at all these aspects before we are starting to learn Zohar. Why we learn Zohar? The goal must always be before our eyes. Kabbalah is no religion and no science. Try to listen to what you hear, whereby you switch off your head. I will never say to someone, follow me. After the lesson, you can think what you want, but first try to get the information, spiritual information, what I say. Now it is very important, every word, every movement, what I do. I am not only working with words, but what I say and how I say it. I do it with my inner places. The Zohar makes in me all kinds of places that are in common with the areas outside the placenta of the universe. That is why the spiritual information that you will receive even from my voice, even when I will not find the right English word. From this you will also learn. Zohar reveals things, and also Zohar reveals things, but also hides. These two come hand in hand. That's why it is so important to tune yourself before you touch the real spirituality. Be attentive what I said about this light of Chaya, the light of life, which comes from the out of the placenta of the universe. Only this light, in the text is written not correctly. This light which comes out of the placenta of the universe. Only this light has the higher frequencies that can break up all kinds of diseases all kinds of results of sins of a person. How does a person sin? He wants to receive into his desires, which are only for himself. So he does it, and even when he does not sin with hands and feet or other organs, he can still sin in his fantasy by making sins, by sinning. He puts some of his creative, holy energies, which he produces with his, let's say, fantasies. These holy energies are taken in captivity to all kinds of dressings. It gets dressed by unclean powers. How it works, we will study. Of course, you studied something about Lilith and this kind of things. And in such a way, these poles of energy, which are presented, balloons, I would say better balloons. And in such a way, these balloons of energy, which are presented, and a person can't get rid of them. Only this light, if someone knows how to get it, comes through, balances, and goes through it and releases the holy powers that are captured inside and gives life to a person. In the same way is the method of the right healing, the spiritual healing. Not like here on earth, the paranormal things or psychological things, but that is why we say that where all the logics end, starts the spirituality. This is a small introduction to our study in order to give you some thoughts on how we will study. Of course, I am trembling to start the Zohar itself, in order that not I will speak, but that the Zohar itself will speak. Not that I will tell you words of wisdom, but I will only be a medium to bring the Zohar to you. My students know how this works. This requires also an additional attitude. Notice for yourself this word of attitude or intention. By the way, you will find some words, English words, which you can correct me or for which you have better suggestions. You are welcome to do so. I like to receive your remarks, as I don't give these lessons by myself, but in first instance for you. This special attitude the world does not know. I did not met in any Kabbalistic school in our time, but only in the school of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, and Ari, one was obliged to do it, to make himself, to bring himself in conformity with this attitude. That is, when you listen to a lesson, to make yourself as a point, a dot. Of course, your ego lives, but in the time that you listen to a lesson or work it out, that you make yourself as a dot from inside, then you will be able to receive the maximum. I do the same. On the day that I gave my Dutch Zohar lesson, on Thursday evening from 6:30 p.m., all the day I don't do anything. I don't study other things. Of course, I look at the piece of Zohar that we will study to bring it in myself and to let it work in myself, to let it happen in myself, to let the lesson just happen within myself in the first instance. But also I make myself just as a dot all the day, and also in the evening when I'm in the class, especially when I'm in the class for the Zohar lesson. Making yourself as a dot is a request, and the term by which you will sooner, quicker, you will come in conformity with the higher, only by making yourself as a dot. Why? We will learn that. By making yourself as a dot within yourself, you will lighten your own wish in order to correspond with the higher. Lighten in the means making transparent. And how it works, we will learn from the Zohar. It is very important, and it took many lessons for me. It took many lessons for me to give to my students until we made something during the lessons, that we feel that there is one stream of energies. All of them look in one direction. No one fights with his teacher, because the teacher wants even more that the students will progress than the students themselves, and they are aware of this. So take this attitude and don't fight with what I say, even if it seems to you completely wrong for what you have studied before. Maybe you studied at a school where they told you that the side of science of the Kabbalah is the most important. Look what they did there. They took one undividable reality in two pieces. They cut it in two pieces. One piece on the right side is a religion and is a piece of the true reality. And others took another part of it, such as science, thinking, whereby no one of them has the right attitude, because the goal of the development is to come to conformity with the whole, entire reality, undividable reality. The true reality is undividable, whereby the mind doesn't want to overpower the heart, the feeling. And the feeling, the heart, doesn't want to overpower the mind. And they exist together in unity. This is the real spirituality. Not the mind rules, not the heart rules. That is why in this world the Eastern wisdom and philosophies don't present the full reality, because all of them are coming out of the heart feeling. It looks as if they also they work with the mind, of course, but it comes through the heart. The Eastern wisdom and Eastern philosophies. And whilst the Western religions, philosophies, and all kinds of logics are structured in the way that the mind rules and neglects the heart. The Zohar gives the undividable reality, whereby no mind and no heart is struggling with each other. That is why I have this friendly request to keep in mind and heart to follow this. You are not following me, but your own way to your fulfillment through Zohar. This is a small introduction before we will pass to the Zohar.